Hi, everybody. Can you take a seat, please? Hiya. Can you take a seat, please? Hello. Can you have a seat, please? Good evening, everyone. Today's meeting is open to the public. A warm welcome to everyone in attendance and people who are watching live webcast or they're going to watch later on. Everybody is welcome. My name is Councillor Hussain and I'm the chair of the local area committee. Before I ask other councillors to introduce themselves, I will hand over to Amanda Clayton, Democratic Services, to read out the housekeeping arrangements. Amanda.
Thank you, Chair. Before we start, there are just a few housekeeping arrangements to mention. Please can I request that mobile telephones and other such equipment are switched to silent mode so as not to disturb the conduct of the meeting. There is no fire test planned for today. If there is an emergency evacuation, please take instruction from the council staff present. The assembly point is in the car park. The toilet facilities are situated through the doors just to your left. The meeting today is open to the public and will be streamed live and for the subsequent broadcast via the Council's website. You should be aware that the Council is a data controller under the Data Protection Act. Data collected during this webcast will be retained in accordance with the Council's published policy. By entering the meeting room, you are consenting to be filmed and to the possible use of those images and sound recordings for webcasting. One final thing to mention, we do have hearing loops available, so if you would like to use one, please let us know.
Well, before I ask members to introduce themselves, I would like to share a sad news. Our former local area partnership board member officer, Pat Grant, many of you might know her. She worked with us a couple of years. She passed away, so her funeral is 30th of November.
Chair?
Yeah.
Yes, if anyone wants to go, it's at 1 o'clock on the 30th of November at Grenoside Crematorium, North Chapel.
Thank you, Mike. Can I ask a member to introduce themselves? Ask Jen?
Jen Sadly.
Good evening, Abdul Qayyum, Councillor for Firth Park.
Price, member for Shea Greenbright.
Hello, I'm Mike Chaplin, Councillor for Salby Wood.
Good evening, Lindsey Hill, LAC Manager.
Good evening, I'm Amanda Clayton, Democratic Services.
Good evening, I'm Councillor Sophia Saeed. Councillor Abdusam Mohammed, Firth Parkwood.
Thank you, everybody. Before we proceed with the agenda, I would like to explain how the meeting will work. First, we will deal with the formal business of apology, declaration of interest, and minutes of the last meeting. We will then move to the item of the North East Local Area Committee Spend Report. The area manager will firstly give presentation. Then will be a discussion, debate, and members of the committee will be asked to agree the recommendation of the report. Then we will have an update on the following: Youth Conference, South Yorkshire Neighbourhood and Communities, and Family Foods. We will then have an interactive session for the present who take part in. Finally, we will have a public question and answer session. Item number 2, apologies for absence. Amanda.
Thank you, Chair. We've got apologies for absence from Councillor Mark Jones, Councillor Fran Belbin, Councillor Dawn Dale, Councillor Tony Dams, and Councillor Gary Redwall.
Thank you. Item number 3, exclusion of the public and press. There is no item that requires the exclusion of the public and press. Item number 4, declaration of interest. Does any member wish to declare any interest in any item of the business on the agenda? No? Thank you. Item number 5, minutes of the previous meeting. Can I ask member to approve the minutes of previous meeting as the correct record? Councillor Jandon.
Thank you. I've got a couple of things I'd like to get an update on, please. Page turn 6.3. I just want to, I know that we've been out and met with the Friends of Wolf Road Park. I would just like it clarified for the record, because I know a lot of them are actually watching, because they can't get this evening, to know that things are progressing and that, you know, it was a really good meeting, and I just wanted to thank you for picking it up and to say how pleased they were and how excited the community are about how this is going forward. I just think it's really important that people in here realise that when we've discussed things, actions happen and it is moved forward. I would also like to pick up on page 12 with the question 9.1 from Peter, who is here today. And just could we have an update on where we are with this regarding the issues around Scrapewood and the parking? It is absolutely escalating to the point where at a meeting last night, members were seriously concerned that lived there about their safety and their access. And, you know, the answer that we had at the light that we would be getting some information whether we could be starting the process in looking at how we prevent this parking issue, i.e. double yellow lines, or road safety, you know, like temporary closures on match days, and about Sheffield Wednesday, have we written to them? Thank you.
So here's our papers anyway attached, while you have read your answer in details.
Agenda item 11.
Yeah.
There's a full answer in agenda item 11 at the back of the pack, where we've got a full response on that today. It's in the pack, it's at the back. Sorry, Chair. All on that, so I think we need somebody to come out and actually meet with us. So can we make sure that happens? Thank you. Cheers. That's great. Thank you. Sorry, I missed that, everybody. Yeah.
Thank you, then. Any other point to raise in minutes? Make.
Yeah, can I ask why it's taking so long to get this Scrapewood done? This has been going on for at least 10, 15 years. So, if they're under, so why can't stuff be put in place for these people?
That's exactly what I'm doing.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I appreciate what you're doing, Jane,
Yeah.
but it just goes on and on and on.
Thank you. Thank you. Can I ask members, the minutes are through record. Thank you very much. So, it is for just the members. So your question and answer session is at the end anyway. No problem. Yeah, yeah. You are more than welcome anyway. Item number 6, local area committee budget spend. Lindsey?
Hi everyone, it's agenda item 6 in fact, it starts at page 15. There's a spend report in there and it's the same spend report that we bring to every meeting. So I won't go through it verbatim through the report and give details, but please look at it. It gives an update on the spend of what we've been doing, what the allocation were, what the spend is, what we've done so far this year, and the progress with some of the projects that we're actually delivering, and some of them have been completed now. There's some really good stuff in there as well. If you want any further details on the work that we've been doing, there's actually a couple of display boards at the back. I'll speak to one of us as the team and we can tell you a bit more detail about them. But this is for the financial report. So what we're asking the committee for today, and I've come here, is to note the expenditure against the 100,000 budget that we had and the underspend from last year, 23-24. And then to agree the proposals outlined in the report, which is for the use of the cost of living. So for the cost of living budget, last time we had the public meeting, we had a 90,000 allocation for cost of living activity, a fund there that had come. We agreed to spend 45,000, which was actually 50% of that allocation, to Citizens Advice Bureau. So that's now been given to Citizens Advice Bureau for their advice line. There's a remaining allocation of 45,000, and that's what I'm referring to for the cost of living. A little bit confusing because under our community plan we've also got a section for the cost of living where we've been giving Welcome Places grants of around £500 with Let's Build health grants. So it's just for clarification. So it's to note the expenditure and agree the proposals that are outlined. Thank you.
Thank you, Lindsey. Can I ask members, note the expenditure made in 23-24 used to address local priorities against the 100,000 budget to address local priority in the northeast like, and 23-24.
Could I just check what the deadline is for this spending? As we lose it, don't we?
Yep, so the allocation's been given and the deadline is 31st of March.
All right.
Slightly before because of our financial cut-off. But it's for if it's been allocated, there might be a way that we can carry that forward into next year, but that hasn't been formally agreed, so officially it's the 31st of March.
Thanks.
You agree the proposal outlined in the report to use the cost of living funding within the northeast like area? Agree? Agree. Thank you. Item number 7, Youth Conference Update. Now I will hand over to Youth Involvement Team, Emma Hinchcliffe. She is the Youth Involvement Team Lead. Emma?
Hi everyone, so I'm Emma Hinchcliffe. I'm a Youth Voice and Influence worker within Community Youth Services. And we've been working with the North East LAC on a youth conference for the area, so inviting all the schools and representatives from every school within this area to come together and to work on priority areas and issues. This started just before the summer holidays, where we put a poll out to the schools to get the young people to vote based on the LAC priorities, which issues were most important to them and which ones they wanted to see tackled. And then we went with the top 3 issues that came from that poll to decide on the topics for the conference for the day. The conference happened the Friday before the schools broke up for October half term. If everybody remembers, it's the day when we had that excess rain and flooding in the area and things, so that impacted on the schools that could attend on the day. But we did have a couple of schools represented from this community where we did some really good work with the young people. So the conference was split into 3 areas. The first area we looked at was places to go and things to do for young people. So we got out maps of the community and got the young people to put on the maps what activities they were aware of and the places that they hung out within the community and things. And then we got them to use stars for where they would like to see provision take place. And the idea with that was that it would feed into the plan that the Universal Youth Services within Community Youth Teams are working on moving forward. So there's some pictures of the plans that they wrote on and the comments that they made around the different areas where they were and kind of what they'd like to see in those areas. And a lot of it was that the young people were accessing green spaces. They were aware of provision, but mainly for the younger ages, and they wanted things for older teenagers that were close to their areas, and they wanted their parks and green spaces to be a bit more updated and have more equipment on them aimed at older young people. And then we also looked at how communities get information and how the LAC might be able to communicate better with young people and with the schools and things. And the young people came up with a really long list of how they would like to be communicated with. But also as part of that, some of them actually agreed to work with the LAC moving forward around how they get information out to their peers and help develop community notice boards and virtual online platforms so that they are appropriate for young people to engage in that process. The second workshop was around health and well-being, so we looked at what are the most important issues around health and well-being for the young people and what they want to see tackled, and we got some really great thoughts from the young people around how issues to do with sleep, mental health, peer pressure, things like that came out as really important for them and areas that they want to see tackled. And they wanted more peer support in place, so young people to young people and they're supporting each other, which I thought were really great for them to identify themselves. And then the last workshop we did were around cost of living. So we looked at what the young people were aware of, whether it were an issue that they felt were impacting them and their peers. And the strong thing that came out of that was that actually it was an issue that the young people were fully aware of, and they were seeing the impact on the daily basis. And they wanted to know what support was available to them as young people. So we got somebody in from the cost of living team that actually spoke to the young people and said, this is what support's available for you and that you can access as a young person. And off the back of that, we know due to the weather and stuff, it impacted on the schools that were able to attend. But what we're working with the LAC on next is potentially doing a roadshow so that we can go into the other schools that were unable to attend, collect the young people's views and make sure they're part of the decision making moving forward. And if they want to be part of developing the information and things like that, they have that opportunity and that chance as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Emma. Any question to Emma? Thank you very much. You are doing a wonderful job for our young people. Thank you very much. Now we move on to item number 8, South Yorkshire Neighbourhood and Community Sync. Now I'll hand over to Abdul Malik.
Hi everyone, my name is Abdul Malik. I'm one of the youth workers for the SYNC project. It stands for Sheffield Youth, Neighbourhood and Communities. The main aim is to sort of tackle exploitation in the area, which isn't really always looked at. Now, it's not in a sense of we're going to stop it, it's more to just see the problems where like gaps have been missed, where communication hasn't been. So when we started, it was like July or June. First thing we did some mapping to see who there is around already, who we can communicate with, where we thought there would be exploitation. So like in schools, local areas where people chill, parks and everything, and sort of getting more understanding so that we could sort of educate people more. Since schools have started, we've been in touch with different schools. So we've been into Longley, Parkwood, what's the other one? Astria. Yeah, and we've been in touch with a couple of different companies. Recently, I don't know if any of you know Couth. We've been doing some work with them, and they're coming this weekend. On top of that, we have our own sort of like hubs where young people can come to, and we've got like different aspects. So there's a sport aspect, and like tonight there's a debate session we normally do. So young people go and they can like different topics. Sometimes important stuff, sometimes just anything to get them talking and doing similar stuff like this. So once we were at the town hall in like the summertime, and they all enjoyed that. Then on the Saturday, Sunday, we've got our sports session, which is what like attracts most people. Get them in, but then from there we do tackle different things such as mental health and everything. And sometimes, especially with the boys, it might just be that they think they're coming in for a basketball session, but I run the Saturday session, so I might notice something that's going on and be able to help them with whether it's as little as education, or if there's stuff going on at home, or I can make connections for them. Yeah, so that's sort of like a quick overview. There's a lot of different things we do, but yeah, just a quick summary.
Thank you, Abu Malik. Now we have to move on item number 9, family hopes, and I will now hand over to Natalie Burrows, Children's Centre Coordinator. Natalie?
No.
She's not here? No? Oh.
No.
Sorry. So, from family homes, no one is here. Apology for that. Now, item number 10, the Roadshow Interactive Session. So we're going to pause the webcasting and we can have interactive session. And we'll be back for the 6:45 for the public question and petitions. Housing? Well, now members suggested because it's cold, I'll put it back on 6:30. Is that okay? The public? 6:30. Okay. 17. Yeah. Before we move to item number 11, public question and answer session, I'll ask Councillor from Belbin about a brief on city goal survey. Councillor.
Thank you, Tyler. Yeah, you might be aware that as a city we've been doing a big piece of work called Sheffield City Goals. That's really about what we want Sheffield to look like for the next generation, for the next 10, 20 years. What do we want our city to look like? It's not just a Sheffield City Council piece of work. We've involved people from all across the city, and it's involved all our big anchoring organisations, health service and universities. But we've also done lots of work out in communities about this. So the Sheffield City Partnership Board is chaired by David Blunkett, Lord Blunkett, and every time we talk about it, he always says to me, what do people in Firth Park think about them though? So this is a bit of a reminder that we've now got a survey out about the city goals, and we would really like everybody who can to feed into that survey. This is this kind of whole idea is that the city goals are owned by all of us. It's not just for the council, it's really for all of us to decide what we want our city to look like. So I think do keep an eye out. It's been posted quite a bit on social media, or you can just Google it, Sheffield City Goals. It will take you to a website that's got a survey on it and where you can comment yourself on those goals. I think the survey is open till mid or late January, and we're also really interested in having conversations about it with people, not just filling in surveys. So if you're part of a group that would like to have a conversation about it and input that way, then just get in touch with one of your local councillors and we can make sure that happens. Let's start planning for our future. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Belmont. Now, question, answer, and petition. Is there any petition? No? For the questions, one of our officers is going to bring mic to you. So, question number 1 from Meg.
I do need it. It's for television. I've just been asked if I can start with a positive. So I will. Firth Park is looking 60% better at the moment because all the leaves have been moved. So I'd like to thank Fran, I believe, that was behind it. I mean, it's took a while, but it is looking better. It could do with another go around, but at least we've had one and they've done 70-80% of the estate. Right, that's me positive. Queen, I'll be negative as normal. Christmas tree at Firth Park. I believe this meeting passed that Firth Park would be having a Christmas tree this year. Yet on the WhatsApp that we've got set up, apparently we're having 2 trees put there. Not Christmas trees, 2 yew trees. I mean, fair enough, it might be cheaper than that, but we were promised a Christmas tree. So are we going to go against what we promised? And the other one is we were also promised a post office by September. If people are making promises and they can't sort of stick to it, why do they promise people stuff that they don't look into before they go into it? I mean, we believe that it's going to be in Firth Park Library. And to get it in Firth Park Library, I think it'll take another couple of months at the least because of the building work that we'll need doing to make the place strong enough to have a post office. People used to get on a bus, Firth Park, into town, into Wilco's where there were a post office, back across road onto the bus and home. Now they can't do that. You need to go on 2 buses because the nearest one round Firth Park is on Colley Avenue. I know there's other post offices in the area, but they don't do such as car tax and stuff like that. So, is there any comments on that?
Thank you, Mick. Councillor Thornberger.
Thanks, Mick. On the Christmas tree, I have to be honest, I do not recall making any promises at this meeting about a Christmas tree, but we were certainly aware that people weren't happy with what we did last year in Firth Park. As part of that, as part of the Economic Recovery Fund that Firth Park Forum have been managing, they've been looking at what to do. As you know, they've completely refurbished all the roundabout and what have you. So they've been looking at a more permanent solution there. The big Christmas tree cost about £8,000. We don't have enough money in our war pot left to do that. And every year we're spending that money, and then it gets chipped up at the end of it after being there for 5 or 6 weeks. So what the forum decided to do, so the trees that they're planting, and they will be permanent, they are yew trees, but they are conical yew trees, so they are Christmas tree shaped. There will be 2 of them, and obviously they will stay there permanently, so that, and they will get bigger. They won't look that big this year, but they will obviously grow and get bigger, and that felt like a better permanent solution instead of paying money in every time, and then obviously the environmental cost of having a cut tree that you then chip down. So that's the thinking behind that. And they will be decorated up. We are funding we are funding the lights and stuff to go on them.
Do we not have minutes from these meetings? Because it was promised. It was. Peter. Well, sorry, we've been promised a post office. No, it was promised here after last year when we mentioned about the flags that was put up. It's a pity Apti's Am's gone, but she says, yeah, mate, we'll have a Christmas tree next year.
We'll budget for it.
We'll budget for it. So if the minutes can be looked at, mind, by the time they're looked at and brought back to the next meeting, everything would have happened. But doesn't consultation come in here somewhere? How many people is in the Firth Park area? How many people's on the forum? And how many people know about that forum?
If I can respond to that then, the forum did consult quite widely about everything to do with the ERS. They didn't just, that was part of the whole basis for getting the money and showing how they've consulted. I can't tell you numbers because I wasn't part of that consultation, but the forum, did consult around that. And I'm sure we said that we would put up some kind of Christmas tree this year. And we are doing, to be fair. As I say, it's a more permanent solution. It will be decorated up. They are conical trees. It won't be like the ones we've had in the past. But we recognise that people didn't like the flags and what have you, so we have gone back to doing two trees that will look like Christmas trees for that occasion. Can I come on to the post office? I'm not going to tell you anything I haven't told you before on this, Nick.
Mate, let her answer.
There's other people who need to ask questions. I'll talk to you about it after if you want to go any further. Rob Post Office. Again, I'm not telling you anything I haven't told you before, I know. Look, the post office is not in our hands. The post office run the post office. They were the ones who decided to close it. They were clear with us that they wanted to reopen the post office in the area. They initially told us there might be a gap of a month. That got longer and longer. We can only pass on information that we're given, and the post office did tell us that they really wanted to be open by September. Now, there's been all sorts of ins and outs of where it's going to be and what have you that had to be decided. Now that the postmaster, the guy who's going to run the post office, has made the decision that he wants it to be in the library. Now it is with the council, to be fair, because it has to go through legal processes in order for the tenancy to be established, etc. Unfortunately, our legal team is very, very small and they have a long, long list of things to do. So I'm not going to promise you any particular time limit on this because we know that you don't want promises that I can't guarantee. But that process is going through and the post office will be opened. I just cannot promise you what time it will be. Some of that is in the hands of the post office. Some of it is in the hands of our legal team. But there will be another post office in the centre of Firth Park.
Thank you. Peace Price.
It's a misunderstanding, really, of what we can and cannot do. You can't promise something if it's in the hands of somebody else. We can say we'll promise to try. I mean, we can't talk lad who's going to open post office where he's going to have it. We can't. All we can do is offer him the alternatives, the options. One was that shop that Saw owned, and then library came up. So that's a part of a discussion that takes place. Regarding the tree, Friends of Firth Park meet regularly. I know it's every month, every month. I go occasionally to their meetings, and they had the budget for the Christmas lights, the winter festival, and the tree, and it was them who really encouraged that, because it's the only place in our whole area which hasn't got a permanent tree. Everyone's all growing, so they haven't got to add it every year. So this was an opportunity to put 2 trees, one at the top, one at the bottom, which shape like a Christmas tree, that won't have to be replaced in the future. And I guess the Friends of Firth Park saw that as a good option to kind of. But I don't think we can ever promise things that aren't really in our hands. You don't know what the budget's going to be. What we can say, we're going to try to make the budget. But when the thing comes in over £8 grand, which is more than the whole lot, it's silly. So you have to look for alternatives, and you have to trust your members to make the best decision, having heard the advice, certainly of the Friends of Firth Park who went down that route. I don't know whether you attend them these days, but they're very active, and in the park as well as outside. And it was them who came up with the Fox, who does all the planting for us. He came, showed them the option and the costs of that. And next year you're not going to have to pay that because they're already there. It seemed a very good decision. I think it was a good decision, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Price.
Just to clarify, Firth Park Forum and Friends of Firth Park have actually merged, and I continually forget which one they're called now. I think it is Friends of Firth Park, but yeah, they're the ones holding the funding. Thanks.
Thank you. Gentlemen, before you ask your question, just tell your name and which area you're from.
Good evening, honourable members and the chairman. I'm very fortunate to be among you looking charming faces tonight. In fact, I really appreciate this meeting. I don't know something like this is on. I lived at Fort Park Crescent. So I'm so happy that something like this is being deliberate in my area. And I so much appreciate what you guys are doing. Kudos to you. Concerning that Fort Park that you've been mentioned, there's a lot of challenges that we have been encountering there that we are fixing. One, in terms of rats. Sir, man, I don't know what we can do to this. It's alarming. I'm sorry, this is my first time of joining this meeting. I don't know this type of meeting is on. To be frank, I thought don't let me mention, but to be frank, rat is one of the biggest problems we are having in that area. That is number one. Two, I don't know what we can do to this. The area is so dirty. I'm sorry about saying this. I don't know, maybe I've stepped on people's toes here with what I'm saying. I'm sorry to say this. It's called for. There was a day a friend of mine came all the way from Germany to come and visit me. He couldn't stay. And the children, I have to go and lodge them in an hotel. I was told, we can't stay here. So that is number two. It's very dirty. No matter how tidy you make your surrounding, before you know it, from nowhere, people, I'm sorry. That's number two. Number three, the most challenges that I've never experienced in my life that is happening to me in Fort Park. I'm sorry. It is this so-called cockroach. I spend more than £35 in a month for it. I reported this to my landlord. He tried all he could, but it's not working. To the extent if I'm moving out of that house, I'm telling you, I won't take a pin out of that house. So I don't know what this body, this organization, can do to that in order to assist. And this is another thing that is happening again. From nowhere, you will just see a baggage of what's so called? They will dump a refuse in your house. In fact, by the time you watch the CCTV, you won't be able to discover the faces of the people doing that. A bunch of refuge. I don't know, maybe people are no more, fulfilling the obligation in terms of making use of the, sorry, I'm short of words, the council tax, or the waste bin. I don't know, maybe they are not making use of their waste bin. From nowhere, you wake up in the morning, open your door, you met a bunch of refuge. And we have been complaining this. I don't know who to sort this out for us. And I'm promising this house, I will be part and parcel and a member of this body, so that we can do this together. As at this night, I'm joining this body to be a member. We want all our places to be a good living for every one of us. A free of touts, free of unbehaviors, characters. People will park and maybe let me rest to make the other point for another day talk. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I feel sorry for you, just not for you there, but in the rest of area, because it's not acceptable behavior for some individual when you wake up and you face that fly tipping outside your house. Councillor Burrows.
So Sarah, I'm one of your local councillors, so I'll come and have a chat with you afterwards and get details. In general, what I'd say to people, with rats, we do have a pest control service at the council. Anyone who's on benefits can access that for free, or there is a charge if you're working. But you can look up pest control, and they do use, they will come out and they will try and identify the source of the problem as well. So it's not just a one-off treatment, it's trying to work out exactly what the problem is. And so you can... Sorry? There's lots of takeaways everywhere, and yeah, certainly the amount of rubbish, and they should be able to deal with cockroaches and so on as well. But I'll have a proper chat with you afterwards, and especially about if it's a private landlord, then we can, and there's issues there, we can pick that up. We've got a team that can deal with that as well if there's problems with the landlord. In terms of litter, fly tipping and so on, it is a continual problem. Like you say, there's lots of takeaways in areas, lots of people dumping rubbish from the takeaways. All that attracts rats. It's really unhelpful. We've got the streets are cleaned every 17 weeks. We know that's not enough. We do have regular litter picking groups in the area as well, at least a couple of times a month. There's some litter picking groups, so I'll have a proper chat with you afterwards, tell you how you can get involved in that, and we'll pick up the specific issues around your house. Okay.
Thank you, Councillor Burrows.
Chair, not much more I can add to that as a fellow councillor with Fern in Firth Park, but again, just to reiterate, please do contact us. We'll do all we can to try and assist you with everything you just mentioned this evening. You can contact us directly. You don't have to come to groups like this and wait for months to be looked at. But you've got our details. Contact us directly, and we'll be in touch with you. And from will be speaking after the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Before I
respond to the gentleman.
Okay, go on then.
What back seat? Firth Park Crescent.
Firth Park Crescent.
Yeah.
Right. No, I was just thinking if there was a Tara that we could put him in touch with, but the actual Tara doesn't do Firth Park Crescent. Yeah.
Gentleman.
Peter.
Please tell us your name and the area you come from.
Thank you. I was going to say I'm going to be too loud now, me, but my name's Peter Thornett. I'm the chairman of the TARA of Scraithwood Drive. So initially, thank you. We're on the agenda, so I came, I said something, it's in black and white that you've actually listened, and we've got an answer, and I can take some of that back and get told off and come back and talk to you again. So on that, you obviously realise what we've said. I'd like, if I can, just to split two of the things on here. So it's the football, which would be the WO lines, and the 20-mile-an-hour zone will be a permanent thing, though, so I'm not quite sure if that's clear on here. We're a one-road estate, so pretty much everybody on the estate is either elderly disabled or mentally disabled. So the 20-mile-an-hour, considering you can't go from our road to anywhere else, is to really protect the residents, same as you would on a school. If it's something to danger for a child who can't look after themselves, it's a similar danger for a disabled person or an elderly person. What I'd like on this, because you can see we've done it, and I can see that you've noticed that towards the end of 2018 you were looking at it. Well, it is also 2023. So it's been an issue that's been aware for a very long time. Well, the issue there was the residents are also very old. We've just had 3 people die. 4 others have serious heart conditions. I have a heart condition. It's mostly about how can an ambulance get up there to the residents if the road's blocked with the parking. If it was just a simple moan of like, oh, the parking's bad on match day, but I can't get to my house, that's one thing around the corner. When it's actual people's health, and the residents are very much worried when your next door neighbour, your best friend for 30 years has just died, your other friend's just died. So if we're now being told that we can't have it, I see on the second of the page it does talk about the cones, and that's a reason I can go back. But can we have it in black and white why we can't have the 20-mile-an-hour zone, and an explanation of why people's health isn't important enough to do it, please?
Yeah, thank you, Peter. This just picks up from what I said at the beginning when I was going through the minutes, is that the concerns that were brought to the TARA last night, and I do really would appreciate it. I mean, Lindsey said that we could follow up with a letter to Sheffield Wednesday, and I know that we've written before and the MP has written, but I do think we do need somebody from Transport Highways to come out and look at this, and we do need to connect it along with adult social care and the health, because, as Peter has said, there is a very, very ageing population living on there, and the way that everything's laid out, from the lighting, everything is really getting to them. So I think we do need more than the standard estate visit, which isn't cutting the mustard. So as a local councillor, I would like Transport to come out and assess that and discuss it with the residents, because it's just, to me, a paragraph on a piece of paper isn't good enough. I've got nothing else to add to that.
Thank you very much, Councillor Mike Chaplin.
Yes, thank you, Chair. And Peter, thank you for pushing back. You're absolutely right too, on behalf of all the residents on Scraithwood. I know you've got a petition that is now circulating out into the estate, and it's going beyond just the regular members that turn up to the TARA committees. But it would be really helpful if you could get a lot of signatures on that, and we can then bring that to full council, give it a higher profile. It is frustrating. I know between 2018 and now we also had COVID, when that meant there weren't any football matches. And then the cones got withdrawn altogether. But as you'll see from the reply, the problem with cones is that they're there to sort of advise the public. And we know that there are football fans out there who don't give a monkeys, and they're just going to move the cones out of the way and park up. And that's really why we're going to need some double yellow lines going all the way up one side of the road, which will we can then get enforcement on that. And I apologise for it taking a long time, but Jane and I we're totally with you, and we will push this as hard as we can. Thank you.
Thank you for your question, and I hope you're going to bring petition in council, and then the issue will get answer from the committee chair. Anybody else got any question? The lady behind. Please tell us your name and the area you come from.
My name's June Lux, and I live in Firth Park. What the problem is the parking on Burrows Road. There's a shop called Amigos, it's like a supermarket, and they just literally just pull up, they ignore double yellow lines, bike pathways, they just park where they want. A few years ago, I was crossing the road and a car peeped me because I was on the zebra crossing, waiting to cross, and he wanted to come up on the zebra crossing to park on the pavement. This has been solved now, they're putting a bollard there. But they just park where they want, they're parking in loading areas, and they just don't take no notice of double yellow lines, single yellow lines, anything. They park where they want. And also, I'm glad the gentleman brought up about rats, because it is disgusting. We've been told that now they're as big as cats. And the back of the shops on Burrows Road are disgusting. They also want the environmental health going down because of all the takeaways, just throwing the rubbish out on bikes. Sorry,
my dad's disabled.
Oh yeah, sorry. My husband's disabled. I live on the left-hand side coming down of Burrows Road. You can only get on that side of Burrows Road. Be coming at the top and going at the bottom, which is sometimes blocked, the disabled ramp, because of parked cars. And when Amigos and they park on the pavement on the opposite side of the road, scooters and wheelchairs can't get down, even prams. And I've seen them going into the road to get down. It's getting worse, and so it's going to be a serious accident before long.
So my dad dropped off in a taxi because he couldn't park on road. So he dropped off on the opposite side of the road, and for him to go to their house, which is just across, he has to go right down Burrows Road, down to where Lady Save were, to cross over there, to cross over Burrows, to cross over Beaver Coats, to come back uphill to get to his house. And it all wouldn't be as a simple cross.
I did inquire about a drop curb at our house, and I was told they couldn't put it there because you're going out of Tring Park traffic. Councillor Melbourne.
Thanks, how are you doing? I think we've been in touch before, haven't we? I know it's a real problem, that whole area with people parking and what have you, and I know it's a particular problem for people on mobility scooters and pushing prams and so on. It's a complicated one in terms of parking. Some stuff the council enforces, some stuff the police enforce. We've got a really limited number of parking enforcement officers. We can ask them to come and do, again, I'll have a chat afterwards and find out, especially if there's particularly busy times, we could ask parking enforcement to come out. But I'll be honest, it's quite a short-lived thing because, they've got to be across the other side of the city or whatever next day, and, people know it might work as a one-off. I think we were looking at, and I'm not quite sure where we're up to with this, it was about people being able to take photographs of wrongly parked vehicles and reporting themselves. I'm not quite sure where we're up to with that, but I'll double check and I'll come back to you on that. And if that's the case that we can do that, that you can take photographs and report them in yourself, then I'll let you know if that's the case. I think when the police are doing it, my understanding is they'll do it if they will charge people or hit people up on it if they're actually obstructing someone and they can see that someone is literally being obstructed. But I think, again, to be fair to the police team, quite small for an awful lot going on in a big city, and to pick up every bit of bad parking just into good use of their time. But if they do see someone actually being obstructed, then they will pick it up. Just on the shops, and we can ask environmental health to come out and have a look. We've had them out on Sassy actually recently, and having a look on some, not on Sassy, on Stubbing recently, and they have been out and looked on back at some shops there, so we can ask them to come out. I'll catch up with you afterwards, and we'll ask them to come. Cheers.
Thank you, Councillor. Mike.
On double yellow lines, can the police knock them, or can the police find them, or summons them for being parked on double yellow lines? Because this is one of the things that Abby first picked up on when she became our local councillor. In fact, she went into the shop and got them out to move the cars. But obviously this is another thing that, yeah, we know it's happening, but we're going to do nothing about it. I mean, I know Fran's been round with a camera doing different things with where people's parking, but nothing's happening with it.
Well, like Fran explained to you, that there are options. We are looking for the options, and then you can. Yes.
For people that don't know me, I'm a Sergeant Zingles. I'm a Sergeant on the Parsons Cross team. I've just recently took over from Scott Sarson. Appreciate your question. We've got a small team of officers, and we are dealing with unprecedented demand, just like everybody else. Not to belittle double yellow parking and obstructions. Officers, when they are out and about, if they get a chance, they do tend to move people on. However, it's mainly working in partnership with parking services from the council, and if we get them to target the area, it'll stop, and then I know for a fact it'll happen again, but we just need to keep on top of it. But certainly from a policing point of view, we come in every morning with plans, and they're usually thrown in the air because something else comes in. But what I will do is I'll feed it back to my PCSO team, and we'll do what we can for you, and we'll feed it back at the next meeting.
I mean, that's half the problem. There's 3 different teams, isn't there?
But we all work together in the same office.
They don't seem to work that way.
I can assure you that I'm a sergeant on one of the teams. I've been there a good couple of years. We do work together. If one of the teams is off, then we pick up the slack on the other team. So I think you're wrong on that. We do work together very well.
Thank you, Sergeant. Question from behind.
My name's Margaret, and I'm from Friends of Concord Park. I haven't got anything to moan about. I just want to say thank you to the North East Police team, a local area committee for Saturday, for helping us to put the lantern parade on for the people of Shire Green, and to Councillor Peter Price, who was there all the way through. Thank you.
Any more questions from anyone? No? So, meeting is closed. Thank you very much for your attendance. Thank you.